Welcome back to Visions of Life 2 Author Artist Series. Today we have Julie Justice, who wrote the short story Superman, inspired by a painting that Sandra Dawson did of the same name. Now, the two of you know each other before the book. So how did you first meet?
Sandy has a fabulous program for kids after school where they come to her home and do art. And both of my kids spent time with Sandy. So we got to know each other through that. And I've always loved Sandy's work. And when I wrote my novel, I approached her about letting me use a piece of her art that had really spoken to me before to use as a cover. And when this project came about, what a great opportunity to collaborate again.
I actually read the Degrees of Difficulty and I really liked it. It really resonated with me. Now with your story, Julie, in the Visions of Life book, the Superman, what in the painting made you think of your story?
When I looked at that painting, I had a couple of thoughts. One was I was struggling to understand who the character was who was curled up like this. And the figure to me was really androgynous. And it spoke to me as like a mother and then also a son. And I was dealing with some stuff in my own life with my own son and dealing with some really hard things that have been going on with him. And I was struggling to articulate that. And this painting really kind of showed me somebody in crisis, I think. And I don't know whether that's what Sandy was aiming for, but it was this kind of tension between the title and the desire to be a super mother and for the kid to be a super achiever, and then this crushing reality that was confining them. And those were the sort of contradictions that first spoke to me and where the story came from.
Now, Sandra, your painting is based on some kind of story also.
It was inspired by a friend and neighbor I was close with, and she discovered that she had a brain tumor. It was just crushing the way that she was just this beautiful, intelligent, amazing woman. And within a few months, she lost everything, her ability to talk, to walk. At the same time, I felt like she was amazingly strong through it all.
How did you come up with the title Superman for it?
I just felt like she was Superman. The way she handled it, she was Superman to me.
Your painting in Living Artists, titled House of Twigs, to me also has a story behind it.
I think I painted that around the same time, within a couple of years of Superman. The title was inspired by my family and I went camping with another family at night when the kids were asleep or something. We adults kind of like snuck through the woods, with a flashlight, and we saw this crazy house that was just built of twigs. It was really cool. That was the inspiration for the title. And then my feeling behind that was the man and the woman were partners, but at the same time, there was like distance and kind of secrecy between them, and also a fragility. And that kind of coincided with the idea of the title, which is that relationships and ourselves and everything are very fragile.
I have another one of your painting here that is not figurative, and it seems like it would be a challenge to write a story for it.
The first painting that I purchased from Sandy's was of two birds building a nest. This one, of course, right away reminds me of that. No, I don't think it would be hard to write a story about this one because I have a story about the painting that's above my fireplace. To me, it's a story of commitment and working together in a relationship, which my relationship with my wife has been almost 35, 40 years now. It would be a story around that.
Yeah, I think you're right, Julie. I mean, in a way, even though it's a bird and not a human being or a butterfly, I seem to repeat a certain theme throughout a lot of my work. And that is the dynamic, the opposing forces of human beings in life, the fragile and the strong and the chaos and and all those kind of yin yang sort of things. And it relates to ourselves and our relationships and our lives and nature and, all those things. So
there's a lot in your work with these dynamics and tension between two figurative beings and Then there are also those ones that really have spoken to me in other ways, which are the solo figure, whether it be the Superman. It just speaks to me, this sort of almost existential loneliness.
Yeah.
I see that in a lot of your solo figures.
There's a loneliness throughout the world that I feel. The loneliness, but also the strength. Being alone. Once again, it's kind of those opposing forces.
Yeah.
Yeah, that we all have.
I think that's the kind of like ineffable quality of your work that really speaks to me, is that tension between the two things.
And I also use that with materials and with the painting. There's a real delicate quality and also a scratching, and I do that throughout the whole process.
A lot of your work is mixed media. What kind of other
Mhm.
material do you use?
I really like to experiment. In the past, I was using like glass and string and all kinds of other materials, but lately I've just been mixing up different paints and markers and India inks and watercolors and
Was that your training, or did you train more classically?
Oh God, no. I went to UIC and it was completely conceptual, and I was expressive. I really never learned any technique whatsoever in school.
Really?
No, Alan actually, my husband taught me technique. I always felt like he was my master's, really. So he taught me a lot of technique, and then I learned technique through teaching.
Thank you, Julie and Sandra, for joining us. You can go to crowwoodspublishing.com and Amazon to buy any of the books, the Visions of Life 2, The Living Artist, and Julie's Degrees of Difficulty. See you next time.